Let's be honest for a moment. The term self-love isn't something most of us men grew up hearing. It wasn't a phrase thrown around the locker room or at the family dinner table. Instead, we heard things like man up, push through it, don't be weak. We were taught that our value was in our resilience, our ability to suppress, to carry the weight without complaint. This conditioning runs deep, and it creates a narrative that tells us focusing inward is somehow selfish or weak. But I want to challenge that narrative today because true, lasting strength doesn't come from ignoring yourself. It comes from understanding and honoring yourself. I need you to hear this. Self-love is the ultimate act of strength. It's the foundation upon which we build everything else, our careers, our relationships, our impact on the world. And let me be crystal clear, when I talk about self-love, I'm not talking about bubble baths or spa days, though there's nothing wrong with those things. I'm talking about something far more profound and practical. It's about owning your worth so deeply that you refuse to accept disrespect from others and, most importantly, from yourself. It's about setting standards, honoring your needs, and having the courage to build a life that actually feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good from the outside. This isn't a fluffy, abstract concept. This is about real, tangible action. It's about making conscious choices every single day that align with the man you want to become. It's about building a relationship with yourself that is based on respect, compassion, and unwavering support. It is the work that allows you to show up as the best version of yourself for everyone and everything you care about. So if you're ready to move beyond the old broken model of masculinity and step into a more powerful, authentic way of living, you're in the right place. Today I'm breaking down 10 real grounded ways you can start practicing self-love as a man. Let's get into it. The first and perhaps most foundational step is to give yourself permission to feel. From a young age, we're handed a very limited emotional toolkit. Anger is often the only emotion that's deemed acceptable for men to express fully. Sadness gets labeled as weakness. Fear is seen as cowardice. Joy can even be seen as frivolous. So what do? We learn to suppress, to numb, to ignore. We build dams to hold back the rivers of our own human experience, telling ourselves it's for the best, that it keeps us strong and in control. But a dam under too much pressure doesn't just hold, eventually it breaks, and the flood is often destructive. Practicing self-love means dismantling that dam, stone by stone. It means acknowledging that having emotions doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. It's a biological, neurological reality. When you feel a surge of disappointment or a pang of jealousy or a wave of grief, the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to not immediately push it away. Don't judge it, don't apologize for it, simply acknowledge its presence. Say to yourself, okay, I'm feeling angry right now, or I'm feeling hurt. This simple act of naming the emotion, without attaching a story of failure to it, is an act of profound self-respect. This isn't about wallowing or letting your emotions control you, it's the opposite. It's about understanding them so they don't control you from the shadows. When you honestly acknowledge what you're feeling, you can then ask the next, more powerful question: why? What is this feeling trying to tell me? Anger might be signaling that a boundary has been crossed. Sadness might be telling you that you've experienced a loss that needs to be mourned. Fear might be alerting you to a genuine threat or an area where you feel unprepared. Your emotions are messengers, not enemies. So the practice here is internal honesty. It's about creating a safe space within yourself where any feeling is allowed to visit. You don't have to serve it tea and let it stay forever, but you must open the door and acknowledge its arrival. This is where true emotional intelligence begins. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being emotionally aware. By allowing yourself to feel, you reclaim a massive part of your humanity that you may have been taught to discard. And that, my friends, is a radical act of self-love. The second principle of self-love is about defining your own terms. It's about becoming the gatekeeper of your own life. For too long, many of us have operated with open-door policies, letting anyone and everyone walk in and treat us however they see fit. We tolerate the passive-aggressive coworker, the friend who only calls when they need something, the partner who consistently disrespects our time. We do this because we're afraid of conflict, of being seen as difficult, or because, on some level, we don't believe we deserve better. Self-love is the act of deciding you deserve better, and then enforcing that decision. This begins with you. How do you treat yourself? Do you honor the promises you make to yourself? Do you speak to yourself with respect, or with criticism and contempt? You cannot expect others to treat you with a level of respect that you do not afford yourself. The standards you set for the world are a direct reflection of the standards you hold internally. If you constantly let yourself down, you are subconsciously signaling to everyone around you that it's okay for them to let you down too. So start by treating yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Keep your word to yourself. Show up for your workouts. Protect your time for rest. Once you begin to treat yourself with this foundational respect, you can then extend those standards to others. This is where boundaries come in. A boundary is not a wall you build to keep people out. It's a line you draw to show people where the door is. It's a clear, kind communication of what is and is not acceptable in your space. This might sound like, I appreciate your perspective, but I'm not available to discuss this right now, or I can't make it on such short notice, I need more of a heads up, or even, it's not okay for you to speak to me that way. Setting these boundaries will feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're a people pleaser. But here's the truth. The people who are meant to be in your life will respect your boundaries. They may be surprised at first, but they will adapt because they value you. The people who push back, who get angry, who call you selfish for having standards, they are the very people the boundaries are for. They are revealing that their access to you was predicated on your lack of boundaries. Letting them go is not a loss. It is an act of self-preservation. Demanding respect is not arrogant. It's a declaration that you value your own peace, energy, and well-being. Our culture often treats the male body like a machine, a tool designed for work and performance, to be pushed to its absolute limit and then run into the ground. We glorify the hustle, the sleepless nights, the running on fumes mentality. We see taking care of our physical selves as a luxury, something to get to later after the project is done, after the deal is closed. But self-love requires a radical shift in this perspective. Your body isn't a machine, it's your home, it's the only one you will ever have. Treating it with respect isn't a luxury, it's a non-negotiable responsibility. This isn't about chasing a six-pack or trying to look like a fitness model on Instagram. That's about external validation. This is about internal vitality. It's about asking yourself a simple question. What does my body need to feel good and function well today? The answer isn't complicated, it's about the fundamentals. It's about nourishing your body with real food that gives you sustained energy, not just processed junk that provides a temporary hit followed by a crash. It's about moving your body in a way that feels good to you, whether that's lifting weights, going for a run, practicing martial arts, or simply taking a long walk in nature. Movement is medicine. Sleep is another cornerstone that we so often sacrifice on the altar of productivity. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor, but in reality, chronic sleep deprivation is an act of self-harm. It destroys our cognitive function, wrecks our hormones, and weakens our immune system. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you can engage in. It's a declaration that your recovery, your mental clarity, and your long-term health are more important than one more hour of scrolling or one more episode of a show. It's about honoring your biological needs. Finally, this means being mindful of what you use to cope. It's about honestly assessing your relationship with things like alcohol, caffeine, or other substances. Are you using them to celebrate and connect, or are you using them to numb and escape? There's a huge difference. Taking care of your body means choosing not to consistently poison it as a way to avoid dealing with your life. It's about choosing health over haze, vitality over numbness. When you start treating your body like a valued partner in your life's journey, it will reward you with the energy, resilience, and clarity you need to pursue your purpose. From a very early age we are handed our masks. There's the tough guy mask, that says nothing can hurt you. There's the class clown mask, that uses humor to deflect from any real emotion. There's the provider mask, that says your worth is tied exclusively to your paycheck. We wear these masks because we believe they will protect us, that they will make us more acceptable, more respectable, more manly. We think that if we show the world only our curated strengths, we will be safe from judgment and rejection. But there is a profound cost to wearing a mask all the time. It's exhausting. It requires a constant expenditure of energy to maintain a facade that isn't true to who we really are. And even more damaging, it prevents true connection. When you wear a mask, you might get admiration, you might get respect, but you will never feel truly seen or understood. People are connecting with the character you're playing, not with the person you are. This creates a deep and painful sense of isolation, even when you're surrounded by people. You feel like an imposter in your own life. The act of self-love here is to have the courage to slowly, carefully, take off the mask. This is what we call authenticity. It's about allowing your outside to match your inside. It's about sharing your real thoughts, even if they're unpopular. It's about admitting when you don't know something instead of pretending you have all the answers. It's about expressing your genuine enthusiasm for something, even if it's considered nerdy or unmanly. It's about letting people see your imperfections, your quirks, and your vulnerabilities. This is terrifying, I know. The fear is that if people see the real you, they will leave. And the truth is, some might. Not everyone can handle reality, but the people who stay, they are your people. They will love you for who you actually are, not for the performance you put on. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the birthplace of connection, trust, and intimacy. Dropping the mask is how you move from a life of performance to a life of presence. It's how you finally give yourself the gift of being fully, unapologetically you. Think about the person you admire most in your life, someone you respect and care for deeply. Now imagine they make a mistake. They mess up a project at work. They say the wrong thing in a conversation. They fail at a goal they set. What would you say to them? You'd likely offer encouragement. You'd say, "It's okay, everyone makes mistakes, you did your best, and you can learn from this, or this doesn't define you." You would offer them grace, compassion, and support. Now I want you to ask yourself an honest question. Do you speak to yourself that way? For most men, the answer is a resounding no. The voice in our head, our inner critic, is often a relentless, merciless drill sergeant. It's the voice that says, "You're an idiot when you make a mistake." It's the voice that says, "You'll never be good enough," when you face a setback. It's the voice that replays your failures on a loop, constantly reminding you of your shortcomings. We would never tolerate someone else speaking to us this way, yet we allow this abusive monologue to run unchecked in our own minds 24/7. This internal dialogue is the exact opposite of self-love. Practicing self-love means actively intervening in this conversation. It's about becoming the moderator of your own mind. When that critical voice pipes up, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept its verdict. You can challenge it. You can say, "Is that really true? Or is that just an old story I'm telling myself?" You can consciously choose to replace the harsh criticism with a voice of compassion and encouragement. Instead of "I'm such a failure," you can practice saying, "This was a difficult challenge and I learned a valuable lesson." This isn't about letting yourself off the hook or making excuses. This is about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A critical voice keeps you stuck. It tells you your flaws are permanent. A compassionate, coaching voice acknowledges the mistake but focuses on the path forward. It says, "Okay, that didn't work. What can we try differently next time?" It treats failure not as an indictment of your character, but as data for your growth. Learning to become your own ally, your own supportive coach, instead of your own worst enemy, will fundamentally change the way you experience your life. Energy is your most valuable, non-renewable resource. Every single day you wake up with a finite amount of it. You get to choose how you spend it. You can invest it in your goals, your family, your health, your joy, or you can allow it to be siphoned away by people who consistently leave you feeling exhausted, anxious, and depleted. We all have these people in our lives. They're the energy vampires. They might be the friend who only talks about their own problems, the family member who constantly criticizes you, or the colleague who thrives on drama and negativity. We often hold on to these relationships for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's out of a sense of loyalty or obligation, especially with family. Sometimes it's because of a shared history. We've known them for so long it feels impossible to imagine life without them. And sometimes it's because we're afraid of being alone. We believe that a draining connection is better than no connection at all, but an act of profound self-love is to recognize that your peace is more important than their presence. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is essential for your survival and well-being. Letting go doesn't always have to be a dramatic, bridge-burning confrontation. Often it's a more subtle process of creating distance. It might mean not answering their calls every time they ring. It might mean declining their invitations more often. It might mean keeping your conversations with them brief, polite, and superficial. You are consciously and intentionally reducing the amount of your precious energy that you allocate to them. You are turning down the volume on their influence in your life, creating more quiet space for yourself and for healthier connections to grow. This can be one of the most difficult steps, and it often comes with feelings of guilt. But I want you to reframe that guilt. You are not responsible for managing another adult's emotions, or for being their sole source of support, especially when it comes at the expense of your own mental health. Letting go is a declaration that you value your own well-being. It's an acknowledgement that you deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift you, who inspire you, who celebrate you, and who leave you feeling better, not worse. By clearing out the draining connections, you create the space for life-giving ones to enter. There's a pretty pervasive myth in our culture that once you reach a certain age, you're supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to be a finished product. And honestly, admitting that you want to learn, grow, or change can feel like admitting you're somehow deficient or incomplete. This is especially true for men, who are often expected to project an aura of unshakable competence. But self-love flips this script entirely. It recognizes that you are not a static object, you're a dynamic, evolving being. And really, the greatest gift you can give yourself is the permission and the resources to continue that evolution. Investing in your growth is an act of faith in your own future. It's a statement that says, I believe I'm capable of more. I believe my future self can be wiser, healthier, more skilled, and more at peace than my present self. And this investment, well, it can take countless forms. It could be reading books that challenge your perspective and expand your mind. It could be taking an online course to learn a new skill, whether it's for your career or just for your own enjoyment. It could even mean hiring a coach or a therapist to help you navigate your blind spots and unlock your potential. This is not about chasing perfection. The goal isn't to become a flawless human being. The goal is to remain curious, to stay engaged with life, and to continually strive to be a slightly better version of yourself than you were yesterday. It's about finding the courage to be a beginner again. Maybe you've always wanted to learn to play the guitar, or speak a new language, or understand how to invest your money. Self-love is what gives you the push to move from, I wish I knew how to I am learning how to, and to do it without guilt or shame. Think of it this way. You would never fault a business for investing in new equipment or training for its employees to ensure its future success. You are the CEO of your own life. Investing in your personal growth is the most critical research and development you can possibly do. It pays dividends in every single area of your life, from your confidence and your relationships to your career and your sense of purpose. So, don't let a fear of looking incompetent stop you from becoming more competent. Embrace the identity of a lifelong learner. It is, honestly, a hallmark of a man who truly loves and respects himself. In a world obsessed with productivity, we often treat joy and rest like rewards we have to earn. We tell ourselves, I'll relax after I finish this project, or I'll have fun once I've earned it. But real self-love means making space for joy and rest. No justification needed. Joy is not a luxury, it's a basic human need as vital as food and water. Whether it's hiking, gaming, building, or just laughing with friends, protect that time fiercely. When you give yourself permission to enjoy life, you recharge, grow, and reconnect with who you are. Let go of guilt. You are worthy of joy simply because you exist. Every single one of us is carrying a backpack filled with the mistakes of our past. It's weighted down with the business that failed, the relationship we sabotaged, the harsh words we said that we can't take back, the times we weren't the man we wanted to be. For many men, we carry this backpack everywhere we go. We allow its weight to slow us down, to define our present, and to limit our future. We punish ourselves over and over again for past transgressions, believing that this self-flagellation is a form of accountability. We think that if we just feel guilty enough, for long enough, we can atone for our errors. But self-love teaches us that there is a profound difference between accountability and punishment. Accountability is about owning your mistake, learning the lesson from it, making amends where possible, and integrating that lesson so you don't repeat the error. It's forward-looking. Punishment, on the other hand, is about endlessly reliving the mistake, marinating in shame, and keeping yourself trapped in a prison of your own making. It's backward-looking. It does not serve your growth, nor does it serve anyone you may have hurt. It only serves to keep you small and stuck. Forgiving yourself is not about pretending the mistake didn't happen. It's not about saying it was no big deal. It is about looking at your past self with a degree of compassion and understanding. It's about recognizing that you were doing the best you could with the knowledge, awareness, and emotional tools you had at that time. If you knew better, you likely would have done better. Now, you do know better. The lesson has been learned. The act of self-love is to accept the lesson and release the shame. So how do you practice this? You can write a letter to your younger self, acknowledging the mistake but offering the forgiveness you now deserve. You can consciously interrupt the loop of self-criticism when it starts playing in your head, reminding yourself, I have learned from that, I am a different person now. Forgiveness is the act of setting a prisoner free, only to discover that the prisoner was you. It's about giving yourself permission to move forward, unburdened by the weight of who you used to be, so you can fully step into the man you are becoming. We have arrived at the final, and for many men, the most challenging act of self-love, the courage to ask for help. The script of traditional masculinity tells us that a real man is a lone wolf, a rugged individualist who handles his own problems. He is the rock, the provider, the one who fixes things. Asking for help, in this outdated narrative, is the ultimate admission of failure. It's a confession that you are not strong enough, not smart enough, not capable enough to go it alone. This belief is not only false, it is dangerous, it isolates us and leads to so much unnecessary suffering. Let's reframe this. What is true strength? Is it pretending you have all the answers while you're silently drowning? Or is it having the self-awareness to recognize your limits and the courage to reach out for support? True strength is not about having no weaknesses, it's about knowing how to build a team around you to compensate for them. No great leader, no successful entrepreneur, no top athlete achieves greatness alone. They all have coaches, mentors, advisors, and teams. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of intelligence and a core strategy for success. A man who practices self-love understands this. He values himself enough to get the support he needs to thrive. This can look like many things. It can be asking a friend for advice on a difficult situation. It can be hiring a financial advisor to help you get your money in order. It can be joining a men's group to share your struggles with others who understand. And yes, it can and often should mean seeking professional help from a therapist or a counselor to navigate your mental and emotional health. These are not last resorts for the broken, they are proactive tools for the wise. Think of it this way, if your car was making a strange noise, you would take it to a mechanic. If you had a persistent toothache, you would go to a dentist. You wouldn't see it as a personal failure that you couldn't fix the engine or perform your own root canal. You'd see it as a smart use of resources. Your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being are infinitely more complex and valuable than your car. Giving yourself the gift of expert guidance is the ultimate investment in your own life. It is a declaration that you are worthy of support and a courageous step toward becoming the strongest, healthiest version of yourself. So there we have it. 10 real practical ways to build a stronger relationship with yourself. As we wrap up, I want you to hold on to one central idea. You don't need to be perfect to love yourself, you just need to be intentional. This isn't about mastering all 10 of these overnight, it's about recognizing that you are a work in progress and choosing to actively and consciously participate in your own becoming. It's about taking small, consistent steps in the direction of self-respect and self-compassion. The journey of 1,000 miles truly does begin with a single, intentional step. Let's be clear one last time. Self-love for a man isn't about ego. It's not about arrogance or thinking you're better than everyone else. It's the quiet, internal confidence that comes from knowing your own value. It's about honoring your worth, showing up for yourself, and refusing to settle for a life that drains you. It's the foundation that allows you to be a better partner, a better father, a better leader, and a better human being. When you fill your own cup, you have so much more to give to the world. And that is a beautiful, powerful thing. My invitation to you is this. Start with one of these 10 steps today. Just one. Don't get overwhelmed. Which one spoke to you the most? Which one felt like the next right thing for you? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear which one you're choosing. And if this message hit home, share it with a brother who needs it. Let's change the conversation around what it means to be a strong man. You are not broken. You are becoming. And you deserve to love the man you're becoming. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more self-improvement tips. Thank you for your time and your energy today.